The biggest whitewater rapids in the Cuyahoga Falls race are right downtown, in the shadow of the Sheraton Suites Hotel.
The farthest person we've had travel by car is from Maine, maybe even Alabama. We did have a gentleman fly in from Washington State as well.
Most of the old dams on the Cuyahoga were built to run mills. A couple generated electricity, but they haven't been actually working for decades. The idea of removing dams surfaced back in the mid-90s, but it was not about recreation. The Ohio EPA was studying the middle Cuyahoga between Kent and Cuyahoga Falls. They were trying to find out, after the big sources of pollution were cleaned up, why was the river not healthier?
It was not meeting the standards for aquatic life, and most of the discharges in the area were pretty good. So they were wondering what was causing that, and the outcome of that study said that the major cause for aquatic life non-attainment, why the fish weren't healthy, was dams.
And obviously stagnant water is never good. The sediment will drop out, which hurts the wildlife and all the breeding grounds, but also the water has to flow as nature intended to get oxygenated, so that was not happening.
The Kent Dam was the first dam in the eastern United States that came out for water quality reasons, and it was the first dam in the state of Ohio that came out for other than safety reasons. So it was a new thing. Nobody knew what it was going to look like. A lot of people liked the old historic dam. There was a debate that lasted 7 years.
We soon found out that Kent, being the unique town that it is, has a very strong environmental presence, but we also had a very strong historical presence. And a lot of people that have grown up in Kent their entire lives, they spent a lot of time around the Kent Dam as kids, and they didn't want to see anything change down here. So we learned very early on that there was going to be two opposing forces here, the historians versus the environmentalists.
The battle went on until a compromise was reached. Leave some of the dam as a water park and open up a side channel to let the river run free.
And before this project, the water level would have been about right here, about 14 foot above the river itself, and the water would be flowing over here. So when the dam pool was drained and this was park was added, we got a lot more area for people to come down and visit and enjoy the area. The waterfall feature that was so important to the citizens of Kent had to be modified in order to keep some type of a waterfall. So what was done was there's actually a pump house built over there that has two 6,500 GPM pumps in it.
With the dam pool gone and the river running free again, the water quality changed.
Immediate difference. It was pretty remarkable. We had our staff out there within 6 months to a year after the dam was removed. We did our investigation into the biology of the former dam pool and showed that it was meeting our warm water criteria. Again, we had northern pike and smallmouth bass had come back to that dam pool that was dominated by catfish and carp.
Shortly after, downstream at about mile 50 on the 100-mile Cuyahoga, the Monroe Falls Dam was torn down with similar water improvements.
Monroe Falls took a little longer. It's a different stretch of water, but we most recently did our sampling in the Monroe Falls area, and it is also meeting our water quality objectives.
In 2013, the two dams within sight of each other in downtown Cuyahoga Falls came under the hammer. One was the Powerhouse Dam at the site of today's Burntwood Tavern. The second was near the Sheraton Hotel, where the restaurant Beau's on the River juts out over the water to embrace the view. New bars and restaurants and breweries are being built on the river to take advantage of that view.
There was a lot of public concern about what would happen, what it would look like, what it would do to the aesthetics, what it would do to the historic values. And there were a lot of people who were concerned about this, especially people who lived near the river. But as the dams came down along the river, we saw that those fears did not come to fruition. That instead of it impacting negatively the aesthetics and negatively their property, it was a positive asset.
Prior to the dams coming down, we never really had a travel and tourism piece here. In fact, we don't have a travel and tourism director I'll be that person.
You know, it just keeps getting cleaner and cleaner. In the summertime when we run through here, you can see down 6 feet into some of these areas very clearly. You can see all the way down to the river bottom. You can see fish swimming around, and it's great. So it doesn't surprise me at all that there's so many new buildings being put up here to embrace the river.
The next dam expected to go is the Canal Diversion Dam, or Brecksville Dam, in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. It was originally built in 1827 to provide water for the Ohio Canal, but now all it does is back up 2 miles of stagnant water. It's scheduled to come down this fall.
What that's going to get us is the dam pool above there does not meet our warm water criteria, and I would point out that below the dam pool, we are meeting exceptional warm water habitat, our criteria for the Cuyahoga River below that dam pool. That's the gold standard, the A+. That puts it on par with the Grand River and the Chagrin River. So we have no reason to expect that we're not going to have similar water quality improvements when we remove that dam.
There is hope that a trout species would actually be able to go upstream into either Yellow Creek or Furnace Run and spawn. There is a possibility that the Cuyahoga could become a trout stream.
It's going to allow fish passage. Also, those low-head dams, they're a safety hazard.
The Brecksville Dam is a site where people have actually died.
The same reason that dam is a killer dam is the same reason why these waterfalls are dangerous at high water, and they can't kill you. What happens is dams create them naturally, but when the river rises, it creates these river hydraulics that can continue to pull you underwater, but don't allow you to flush downriver. So you end up being recirculated to the point of exhaustion and drowning. And then the river will continue to hold you there until it either lowers or just time allows debris or people to flush out.
With the dam out of the way, canoers will be able to paddle a 40-mile stretch to Lake Erie, following the path Native Americans took centuries ago. When the Brecksville Dam is gone, all eyes will be on the biggest dam on the river, the Gorge Dam, also known as the Edison Dam, connecting Akron and Cuyahoga Falls.
Federal EPA is the big funder of that dam removal. We look like it could be on pace to about 2022 or 2023 to be totally gone.
We knew that even though this dam is 60 feet high and 420 feet wide, that it was a big dam, but we also knew the most expense was going to be in removing the sediment.
We have to remove the sediment from behind a dam. That's in the neighborhood of 850,000 cubic yards of sediment. That's a huge volume of sediment. And then we obviously have to remove the structure.
We came up with a feasibility account of what it would take to take out this dam, and that report said it would cost in the neighborhood of $70 million to remove the dam and the contaminated sediment.
So the dam was placed over to Great Falls. There's, depending on which elevations you look at, there's like half of the Great Falls might still be buried by the dam. And what's it going to look like? It's the box of chocolates. Who knows?
The technical term is the Big Falls, but our city was named after that, and it hasn't been seen in over 100 years. When we took the 2 small dams down, the kayakers told me that's about a half mile of challenging whitewater. If the Edison Dam comes down, it's 2.5 miles, so we will be building hotels and restaurants at that point.
It seems with clean water, things just seem to grow better.